details of this task, like what are the in and outs of this task, what we need to remember as a part of the this configuration. Okay, so next one is manage receivable payment terms. Again, the payment terms are pretty much similar to what we have in the payables, but with a slight difference here, as there are few fields which is also part of order management module, which is covered here, right? So just like in payables, we use payment terms at two places. It is used at the time of invoicing as well as also initially at the time of doing the purchase order in the supply chain. Payment terms are also used. Same way here in the order management module and in the AR module, the payment terms are used. Right. So manage receivables payment term is the name of the task. Okay. Receivables. We don't have enabled here. Maybe someone has disabled. Let's check from the offerings, financials, opt-in features. Let's quickly check here. That's a customer invoice processing. Yeah. So someone has disabled this means receivables and related things are disabled. So we'll enable it again, no problem. Right. This is not something that you'll be doing on a daily basis. This is a one-time activity that should be done. Yeah. All right. Let's check. Yeah. Now we have the receivables here. Okay. So manage receivables payment term is the name of the task. We have it here. Okay, so if you search, we'll get all the available predefined as well as the one which are defined by different users. So suddenly you see where the start date is 1st of January 1952, right? These are predefined payment term which comes as a part of the seeded data from the application. Correct. So this is available. Now, what is the approach that is followed here? The approach which is followed here is first you identify that if there are seeded set of data already available in the system. So from the business point of view, we can understand like what is the seeded predefined payment terms that business is going to use and what is the remaining one that you need to create. But also special attention here on the reference data set, right? So these payment terms are created on the reference data set directly, right? So on the header level, you'll be able to find these reference data set attached here, like common reference data set or any specific reference data set which is attached to your business unit, right? So when you define the business unit, at that point of time, you define the reference data set, correct? So now here, in if you compare it with the payables, right? So what happens in the payable side? You create a payment term, you define the whole payment term, and then you attach it to the reference data set, right? So that is how it works, which means that anything which is already predefined, right? It is attached to a common one, and then you have a dedicated reference data set. You can add it from here, right? There's a dedicated option in payables. Okay, let's do that also. Let's duplicate the screen. Let's open that and just to give have a comparative analysis. So manage payment terms from payables. Manage payment term, right? So I'll open this one. And yes, set assignment, right? So this is where you have the reference data set assignment. So if I let's say my reference data set is like ABC reference data set, right? So I still have an option that if this is a seeded one, predefined one, and I want to reuse it from my business unit, so I can click on add. Assumption my business unit is not on com, it is on a specific reference data set. So I can add my reference data set here, and this whole setup will be available to my business, right? That is how it's going to work in terms of AP payment terms. But when it comes to AR payment terms, so AR payment terms right on the top, it starts with the payment terms set only, which means that now I don't have an option that if my uh, business unit is attached to ABC payment term, and here I want to use net 30 again. So I don't have that option that I can reuse it again for reference to my reference data set, right? Either I need to recreate it, that is something I need to do, right? Or I need to set the payment term set for my business unit for common, at least for this receivable payment terms, right? And from where this can be done. So I think we have it this option in assign. Let me check if we have it there or not. Uh, business unit set assignments. So AP side we have uh, receiver here. Okay. So what I need to do, let's say my business unit assigned to the common one, right? So by default, everything will be on common. Now, or let's reframe this example. My let's say my business unit is attached to ABC reference data set. So by default, everything will be on ABC reference data set here. Now, if I want to reuse the payment term from the AR side, which are defined on common side, right? What I can do instead of first option I've given you that you cannot change it here. So what you need to do, need to redefine the payment terms with the set as ABC reference data set. Or the other option is, and generally this option will be used in case you have majority of the payment terms that are going to be used by your business predefined. It's already there in the application, and now you want to reuse that. So what you can do here, you can change the reference receivable payment terms from, let's say, this don't treat it as common as of now, because the assumption that I'm taking is that this is attached to ABC. So from ABC, you can change it to common, which means that all the payment terms which are defined under common set will be now available for the uh, usage, right? Now this is not something like you'll be able to read out at Oracle documents, or this is not something someone who is going to tell you. This is something that we learn as a part of the practice, or we adopt as a part of the practice when we do the implementations, right? Because here you have that option to change the reference data set. So in order to make you optimum use of the available configuration, you can have these kind of practices, and that is absolutely fine. Okay. So what we hope the understanding is clear here. So this is also something which is going to impact only your AR setup. It's not going to impact your AP setup, because AP setup we still have an option where we can add the reference data set along with the common. We can use as a shared payment term, right? But in on the air we don't have that option. Okay. Now let's understand some of the key fields here. What are the key fields? So name, yes, naming convention is something that you need to use uniquely. So it should be a unique value here. And generally the naming convention should is something that based on the naming convention should be able to understand the nature of the payment term. Okay. Then you have the description where you can give a long description of the payment term, what it stands for, right? Then allow discounts on partial payment, right? So this is a kind of checkbox that will be applicable in case the discount scenarios are applicable. Means when you're creating the accounts receivable invoice, and as a part of the invoice, you have some early payment discounts. Means, for example, 30 days here is the amount which is payable. But for example, the payment term is such that if you pay within 7 days, 1% discount is applicable. So the assumption